video. My name's Adam, and today I wanted to talk to you about one of my favorite ways to catch bass, and that's with the jig. More specifically, the finesse jig and the football head jig. But yeah, honestly, it's just so much fun year-round fishing. You can get a bite in the middle of December and in the middle of the hottest days of the year, wherever you're at. It's just so much fun, and it's such a rewarding bite, because most of the time when they eat that thing, it's just boom, they freight train it. Not only that, I genuinely think that jig fishing is super fun just on the tackle side of it. Being able to try different jigs, match different trailers, different colors, it's that in and of itself is super fun. I don't know if that just brings out the child in me or us tackle junkies. It kind of scratches that itch, almost like collecting toys when you're younger, something like that. But I have some of my favorite jigs that I've been fishing for years. I have one that I just started fishing that I really like, and then I have a handful of trailers here that are my go-tos. I'm not saying those are the only ones that get bit. Like I just said, it's so much fun kind of experimenting on your own, but if you are looking to get better at jig fishing, you click the right video. I've got some good stuff here for you to try. Hopefully the wind's not too bad for you guys. I tried to find a little cove here that's out of the main channel, but all right, where to start? Let's dive in with the finesse stuff first. So right off the bat, this is one of my go-to finesse jigs. Not a football head jig. It's almost, I mean, it is a Ned rig type head with a skirt on it. This thing just flat out gets bit. As you can see here, I was fishing this one earlier today. Already knocked some paint off of there, but probably caught 5-6 fish on that guy. My favorite trailer for that one is also a Z-Man, but this is the TRD Craws in Delta Green Pumpkin. Honestly, the color, in my experience, it's more of a confidence thing, but anything green pumpkin you can't go wrong with. But this little guy is like day in, day out. When I have people on my boat or I'm taking people fishing and they're just learning how to bottom fish, they're not chucking a chatterbait or a spinnerbait or anything like that, and they're learning how to feel the bottom, get those bites, this is the one I tie on for them. I mean, with that the Z-Man Elastec, that stuff floats, paired with that Ned rig head, that thing just stands up and those claws just kind of float in the water right there. Drives fish crazy. So you can have a really fun day on the water with a lot of bites on this setup right here, and you're also gonna luck into a big one every now and then. The cons with this bait is it isn't hand tied. I'll get more into the hand tied jigs in a minute, but this one has the rubber skirt. And also, like a lot of Z-Man's hooks, a lot of people complain about them bending out too easily. In my experience, on the right setup with the right drag, I don't bend out hooks. And I've caught fish up to 9 pounds on this. So if you are fishing this and you're noticing you're bending out hooks, 1, you're pulling too hard, 2, you're fishing way too heavy of line, or 3, you're just button down drag. So this one's definitely, I fish this one on a spinning rod exclusively. I don't ever throw this on a bait caster. I think it's too light for a bait casting setup. I haven't tried the BFS stuff, but on a regular conventional bait caster, I just don't get the feeling that I want. So I love fishing this rod here. It has a Senko tied on it right now, but this is like my go-to rod for Senko fishing, finesse jig. It's the Californian CBX S71 Light. This one's the Turner's Tackle. I talk about this rod. I'm going to be talking about this rod a lot because this one rarely leaves my hand. And with the Shimano Sedona 1000. For the best bang for the buck, this setup's $200, and I love it. It's one of my favorite. Oh, also, I'll talk about it now. Same thing with the bait casters. Yep, lost our sun. There's a cloud there, so hopefully you guys can still see me. Same thing with the bait casters. If you're not fishing braid to leader, I think you're crazy. Let me know in the comments what you feel about that, but braid to fluorocarbon leader, the sensitivity is just outmatched. You can feel every rock, every stick, every sand, mud pile. You get almost like a 3D printout of your home water because of how sensitive this is fishing with a jig. Even before I had a boat and electronics, I spent a lot of time fishing the shore, paddleboards, kayaks, float tubes. I knew what all of the lakes that I fished at, all the ponds I fished at, I knew what the bottom contours were. I knew, obviously I didn't know the exact depths, but I just knew there's a drop off there. There's a really sticky rock pile there. It's all mud there. I rarely get bit. So if you're fishing straight mono, all that feels the same, unless you're a very like advanced fisherman and you really like fishing straight braid, or I'm sorry, straight mono or straight fluorocarbon, fine. But if you're just getting into it, you will learn so much about your body of water going braid to leader. So not only that, going braid to leader, you can adjust your leader on the fly. So you're at the lake, you're fishing one of these jigs, you set the hook and you're breaking off. You can just cut off that leader, pull out one spool of line from your backpack or whatever, and you can just tie a little bit heavier. Or vice versa, if you're fishing heavy line and you're not getting bites and you're like, I feel like I'm doing everything right, let me downsize my line. You just clip, tie whatever your favorite connection knot is, good to go. Sorry for that little tangent. I hope that helps you guys. Try braid to leader. Oh, that's 10 or 12 pound braid on my spinning rods and 30-pound braid on my bait casters, just in case you care about any of that. All right, so there's that one. That's like the finessiest one. Love that bait. Let's jump into this one here, the Keitech. That tungsten one right there. So even though this one is still very small, it's the same weight as all these other jigs. But like, look at the size difference on it because it's tungsten. I guess this one's actually tungsten too, just has a bigger skirt. But I like this one if I'm fishing kind of like smallmouth areas or moving water where you still want that really small compact jig, but you want it heavy enough to get in that current and not just drift off wherever you're trying to fish and lose that connection with your bait. So that Keitech's a lot of fun, a little more pricey, but I use that one in very specific situations. For a trailer on that one, you can't go wrong with on any of these, honestly. Maybe besides this one, it might be a little too big. Instead of this one, this might be a little too big. But the 4 and 5 inch Gary Yamamoto double tail grub will work on any of these jigs. If I had to pick one, it's that one. So that will work on here. I also love fishing the smallie beaver, same thing on any of these jigs. The smallie beaver or just the sweet beaver if you want that bigger presentation. I'm just a huge fan of that really compact jig. This is another one I've been fishing lately, is the Biwa Ultra Hog. That one right there, this one, let me pull one out. A lot of people haven't seen these yet. So this one paired up with that guy is just so fishy. I like to cut off maybe like ½ an inch of that bait to kind of get those legs sitting just outside the skirt. So yeah, probably about ½ an inch. And that one right there is so fun to fish. I love these. These ones also kind of have that scent like Keitech has. I forget what that scent's called. Anise, maybe? I don't know. But for whatever reason, that smell like just instills so much confidence in me. It just takes me back to when I was a kid and like buying those like buckets of like I think it was Bass Pro Shops or whatever. They would send out just like a catalog and you'd order like a bucket of soft plastics and it was just drenched in that smell. So people think I'm crazy, but I freaking love the smell of that. But yeah, so let's take off 1/4 inch here, ½ an inch or so. I got scissors on the boat, but fingernails work fine too. Look at that skirt on that bad boy. You can see that's also a very small hook. This one you can fish with a spinning rod, but I mean at 3/8 ounce, it's going to be a medium heavy spinning rod. I like to fish this one personally on like a 7-foot medium bait casting setup. Something that has a little give in the tip, just in case you hook a good one. You don't want that hook bending out, because it is a little compact guy. Oh no, another cloud. Yep, that's the deal right there. Love that setup. That one's so fun to fish. All right, moving on down the line, we have this Queen Tackle Tungsten Peanut Jig. Another tungsten one, but same thing. This one's 3/8 ounce. That's I'd say 90% of the time I'm fishing that weight, unless I'm fishing this first Z-Man one or deeper water. But this one I've been fishing for years. I absolutely love this jig. I love the color options. This one is hand tied. I'm pretty sure the Keitech is. I don't know if I mentioned that. yeah, the Keitech looks hand-tied as well. This one here is just one of my confidence baits. Like I just said, you can fish any of the trailers I'm mentioning on any of these, whatever one you like. This one I have on here, the Biwa Warax 4-inch. And again, I cut a little bit off of that, probably 1/2 inch, just to make it a little more compact. But this one has a much stouter hook. That one you can throw on your medium heavies, 12 to 16, 18 pound test. I like to hover in that 15 pound range most of the time. But that guy right there, so fun. Next we have this Evergreen. This one I just started fishing. Got a jet flying over, so hopefully you can still hear me. Just started fishing this one, the Evergreen International IR Jig. This one's really cool. You can see this one's just absolutely bit up on that hula grub. That one's actually probably retired, so chuck that guy in the back of the boat. This one's cool because you can see the skirt's a little more narrow. And it's got a more rounded head. So it's not like a traditional football head, just like a round jig head. And another thing about it, it's hand-tied, love that, is it has that wire keeper. That right there is great to me because I do love fishing a lot of Z-Man trailers, and that elastic can be an absolute nightmare to put on anything that doesn't have a wire hook keeper like that. So with the Keitech and the Queen tackle, those ones just have the standard extension of the lead. I think this the next one I talk about has that as well. So if you're looking for one to fish with specifically Keitech stuff, because that elastic floating is huge in my opinion when fishing on a jig, this one's another go-to for me. You can just see that one. I was fishing with the Yamamoto double tail grub, super bit up. Love that one. Again, stouter hook, still kind of finessey though. There's another option for you, and last but definitely not least, another one I've been fishing for years and years and years is the Dobyns. What do they call this one? Extreme Jigs. Wow, hand-tied skirt, 3/8 ounce. I love this one in the 3/8, but I also go up to 3/4 on this one for the lakes that I need to fish deeper at. So I have a lot of 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce of this specific one. They also sell this in a 3-pack, I believe, which is great. Again, hand-tied jig. The reason I love hand-tied jigs is I hate dealing with that rubber when it melts off, and then you have to replace the jig skirt, or just throw the jig away, or turn it into just like a ball head jig. Because personally, I buy kind of in bulk when tackle stores have sales, and when you buy in bulk and you don't use them right away, that rubber can just kind of like degrade over time. So I think a hand-tied skirt's great. This one also has a combo skirt. So I don't know if you can tell on the GoPro, but it has what is that, like? It's like that different rubber silicone maybe. So it actually puffs up a little bit differently. It's got that recessed line to help protect your knot when you're pulling it through the rocks, and it's just got that big wide gap hook. So this one is a go-to for me. Normally I'm fishing this one out deeper. If I'm fishing like right along bluff walls, hopping them down, keeping it shallow, these other two are my go-tos, the Queen and the Evergreen. But another option for you guys is that one right there. This one I absolutely love pairing up with the smallie beaver, not the sweet beaver. I like the smallie beaver. Smallie beaver, you can see that's what I was talking about. This one doesn't have that wire keeper. It's just an extension of the lead. Doesn't like Z-Man trailers. Those things are such a pain to put on there. I know there's like little tricks and tips to get them to stay on with like lighters and crap like that, super glue, but I hate doing that. Personal preference. If you like doing that, that's fine. Do whatever you want. But these are just pointers from me. So let's go ahead and line that up. Get the smallie beaver on there. Again, if you haven't noticed, natural colors are my confidence colors. I rarely fish like chartreuses or black blues. I just love anything that's kind of brown, watermelony. Might just be because I'm from Southern California and all of our lakes are extremely pressured, so I try to keep everything as natural looking as possible. But even the ones I fish deep, the bigger jigs, this is like the biggest jig I'll fish. Still a really compact, natural looking presentation. Take that smallie beaver on there. I'll trim the skirt up just a little bit, but love this thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed in your lakes, but most of the bass I catch that cough up crawfish, are this size or smaller. I rarely see them cough up those big, giant, bright red, like pissed off ones with the big pinchers. So that's where my confidence in the smaller, compact profiles comes from. Can't talk about jig fishing without talking about a lure retriever. So I highly recommend, if you're in a boat, kayak, float tube, paddleboard, get a lure retriever. I forget what this one's called. I'll put it in the description below. I think it's like 20 bucks. And then I got this 26-foot retractable dog leash, I think for like 15 bucks. So for, 35, 40 bucks, this thing has saved me thousands of dollars over the years. It's just ridiculous how easy this thing backs these jigs out of rocks. Like, so you're not breaking off 5, 10 jigs. Like, it's rare I lose a jig anymore. Usually it's because the hook point finally gives out, or I snap a fish off on a hook set if it's on the other side of like a rock or something. I rarely lose jigs to being snagged, so highly suggest getting one of these. And they're really easy to use, even if you're by yourself. I usually just hold it like this, put my line on it, hold it tight with my hand, slide it down, feed it all the way down to the lure. Once I feel it hit the lure, I'll pull it up, let it drop, and then give a little bit of slack, and it just backs it up. 60% of the time, works every time. And then of course we got our gear here, our rod and reel. Like I was saying earlier, braid to leader. It's crazy to me that people don't do that, especially because not everyone has 20 rods to have every pound test already rigged up, right? So if you're shore fishing, you're in a kayak and a float tube, or you just don't fish a lot, so you only have a couple of rods, you can switch out that line like that. But oh, one last thing, I did mention you shore fishermen. Obviously, if you're a shore fisherman, you can't use the lure retrievers, so you're gonna get snagged a lot fishing jigs from shore. So if you do want to fish jigs or any sort of creature baits, my recommendation is, one, just Texas rig them, or you can get these Yamamoto, the hula grub. I'm pulling those out for you if you haven't seen one before. It's basically a jig in and of itself. It's got that little skirt on the bait itself. So you can Texas rig these, and you're a lot less likely to get snagged than pulling one of these jigs from deep water uphill, if that makes sense. Normally when you're fishing from a boat, you're doing the opposite, so you're casting shallow and fishing them deeper. So you're just, like the line, you're just statistically less likely to get snagged. You still get snagged a lot, don't get me wrong, but from shore, you're gonna get snagged like every time. So Texas rig that bad boy, or do yourself a favor, just go buy a bulk pack of inexpensive Ned rig hooks that you're not, like if you lose 5 or 10 of these in a day, you're not going to break the bank. And just Ned rig those. I suggest that one there. Also, what will help you shore fishermen, especially on those deeper spots, try to cast it like 45-degree angles along the bank. If you're casting out to deep water and pulling it straight up those rocks, like, you're gonna get snagged. Also, fish with that rod tip high and just fish it a little quicker. If you feel, as soon as you feel that thing hit bottom, just pop up. Pop up, and as soon as you go to pop it and you feel it kind of load up on a rock, give it slack and give it quick shakes. Don't lean into it, because all you're doing is either burying that hook or burying that lead in that little pinch point of whatever rock or crag that you're trying to get over. So whenever I'm feeling it start to get snagged, I feel that rod tip load up and I know it's not a fish, I immediately give it slack and shake it over that. Gives it a chance for that bait to fall backwards and pop back over the top. But yeah, that's jig fishing. Like I said, it's one of my favorite ways to fish. I love spending time finding new jigs, finding new trailers, playing around with colors, and just getting out there and dragging those things on the bottom and feeling that boom, and just that hook set when that fish doesn't move. All you feel is head shakes. It's so exciting. Sorry about the weird transition. I got excited to go fish, so I forgot to give you probably the most important information about these types of jigs, and that's the when and where to use them. So the when is anytime bass are eating crawfish, and that's basically year-round. It's one of their main forage in just about every body of water, so when you're throwing these, that's specifically what you're imitating. The only time of year it can get a little weird is in the summertime if your body of water gets overgrown with grass, because these jigs that I mentioned here do not fish well in grass. They will catch just about every strand of grass in your lake. So if that is the case, fish them earlier in the year before that grass grows, or find those rock piles or rock edges, anything like that where the grass doesn't grow, or the outside edges of that grass. That kind of just transitioned me into the where. So where you want to fish these is anywhere crawdads live. Crawdads, crawfish, love to live around rocks. So any sort of bluff walls, rocky points, rock piles, offshore edges or ledges, anywhere there's like a big flat of hard bottom where those crawfish might be out foraging around. Anything, anywhere that you think bass are sitting, targeting crawfish. Pretty vague, but honestly, I've caught them just about anywhere in the lake. Another thing, real quick, how to fish them. If you've never seen a crawfish or a crawdad in the water, obviously they're on the bottom. They're crawling around on the bottom, rummaging around, looking for any dead fish, any leaf litter. They're pretty, they eat just about anything organic, right? So they're crawling around on the bottom, but as soon as they feel threatened, they have, for their size, they have pretty big, powerful tails, and they will scoot and shoot super fast. I do a lot of free diving and spearfishing and stuff, so I've seen lobster in the water a lot too, and obviously try to catch them. So I just imagine crawfish as smaller lobster. So when I'm going to grab one of those lobsters, that thing will do like a 1, 2, 3 and then scoot and fall back down. And if you're still chasing it, it will keep kicking. So they can move pretty freaking quick. So I like to just kind of crawl it around, and then maybe 2 or 3 times a cast, depending on how long of a cast you made. Or when you feel it kind of load up on a rock, like right there, see my rod tip kind of loading up, trolling motor spazzing out, but loading up, just give it a quick little pop over that rock. And that really imitates that fleeing crawfish. So if and when there's a bass studying that bait and he's deciding whether or not to eat it, and all of a sudden that thing goes boom, boom, it's going to trigger him to get that, to lash out and eat that crawfish. So I'd say, if I had to pick a number, 75% of my jig bites come right after I feel it kind of load up on a rock, and I pop, boom, and they just hammer it. At times though, when you're out fishing those big flats, those big hard bottom shell beds, anything that's not just like, got stuck on a twig there, anything that's not really like steep, jagged, snaggy rock, I'll put the rod tip right by the water and just drag it, almost like you're fishing a Carolina rig, and just drag it, and every now and then give it that pop, and you can feel it kind of like tick, 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 tick over those, like, I don't know, that like really small kind of chunk rock kind of stuff. But if you're fishing those like steep slate or jagged rocks, you're gonna have to keep that rod tip up and just kind of hop it over, let it fall, hit bottom, hop it over, because if you let it sit too long, that jig will find its way down into a snag that you probably won't be able to get it out of. So keep that in mind. It depends on where you're fishing, body of water you're at, but just kind of experiment and yeah, go from there. Keep a good lure retriever on you, because you're gonna get snagged eventually. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. If you guys have any other suggestions, any other comments, leave them down below. Love to talk more about this type of fishing with you guys. And if you like the channel, the best way to support the channel is to remember that I'm a loan officer. So if you or anyone you know has any questions at all about home finance, whether it's how to qualify for a home loan, you have any questions about rates, any of that stuff, leave me a comment down below or shoot me an email at fluentfishingofficial@gmail.com, and then I can set you up with my work contact information. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something. Hope it catches you a big one. But yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Hit subscribe. See you there.